The story begins in the magic realm, a world which is inhabited by people who can use magic. This power is a natural part of everyday life and is believed to be a gift bestowed by God. The mastery of magic also dictates the individual's social status. In this world, where using magic comes as naturally as breathing, exists someone who defies this order. Deep inside a forest lives Burnedead, the unnatural being who is seen training and doing bench presses with insane weight and speed. With a scene shift, an old man is seen spending his last days secluded with his son Mash. This old man, Burnedead, introduces himself as a chic and elegant 75-year-old who has overcome his anxiousness thanks to the combat experience he has acquired in the past. However, even Riguro's experience is not enough to calmly deal with Mash's idiotic acts, who breaks the front door in an attempt to enter the house. After Riguro vents all of his anger, they both share some tea. There, Mash asks why all his training consists of physical training, but his father dismisses this conversation. In reality, he reveals that Mash is unlike any other ordinary person. He cannot use magic, and so he has to compensate by building a strong body. All of a sudden, Riguro states that he has to go run some errands and tells Mash to stay put, once again recalling his warning to Mash to never step into the city while he is out. Mash agrees with his father's warning, but the call of his empty stomach makes him unable to keep his promise. Immediately after his father heads out, Mash dashes towards the city to buy some of his favorite snacks, cream puffs. Inside the city, he hides his face using a hood, and that is where a glimpse of his true power is first revealed. While handing coins to the store owner, he puts a bit too much force and bends the coins by accident, leaving the store owner to freak out upon seeing this display of strength. Unfortunately, a sudden breeze blows the hood off his face, making the onlookers distraught. According to them, Mash has no mark on his face, but as of now, this poses no problem. And so, Mash begins enjoying his cream puffs and takes a stroll despite the attention he has attracted. Consequently, he bumps into Bard, a magic police officer who can investigate the appearance of an unmarked and tries to confront Mash. Nevertheless, out of nowhere, Riguro intervenes and runs off along with Mash, but Bard uses a magical spell to track them. Back at their house, Riguro scolds Mash for disregarding his warning, but is forced to forgive him when he makes a sad expression. In exchange, the old man orders his son to repeat today's training routine as punishment. And so, while Mash heads out, Riguro contemplates what he should do now that the magic police has noticed his son. Just then, Bard and his peers break into the house, asking Riguro where the unmarked boy is. On the other hand, Mash completes his intense routine in 5 minutes and heads back. However, he overhears the officers who are beating his father to get info, but the old man keeps quiet. In a flashback, he reveals how he was treated as a failure throughout his life. Feeling unwanted, he tried to end his life, but then his attempt got interrupted by the cries of a child. Seeing that this child with no mark has been abandoned, he feels a bond with him and decides to raise this child. Back in the present, these memories resolve Riguro to not out his son, and in retaliation, Bard begins to beat him even more and finally prepares to deliver the final blow when all of a sudden, Mash barges in. Seeing Mash defeat the others in an instant, Bard uses a magical attack. Nonetheless, this doesn't even faze Mash, who deflects the spell with his bare hands. Seeing this, Bard becomes agitated and decides to use his ultimate move, but even this gets deflected by a measly flick. Moreover, Mash uses his father's magic wand unconventionally and throws it at his opponent, making Bard lose his fighting spirit. As such, Bard decides to strike a deal with Mash, claiming he will let them go if Mash does whatever he says, to enroll in a magic school and be selected as the one chosen by God. Bard wants the fortune that comes along with this title, and with no other choice, Mash decides to do just this in order to continue his peaceful life with his father. The Easton Magic Academy is a historic and prestigious school. Thanks to the achievements of the alumni, many people try to enroll here, but the entrance exam is extremely difficult. Less than 3% of the applicants, those who have superior magic abilities, are allowed to enroll, and this is the school Mash has to join. On the school grounds, as other students prepare for the exam, Mash is seen standing indifferent, but this time with a mark on his face, which is a scar Bard put on him. From above, Cloud, the examiner and this year's 7th best magic user, watches Mosh pump iron and becomes perplexed seeing him. An announcement is made and Claude makes his appearance. Using his magic, he summons desks and test papers, and the exam finally begins. But it isn't so simple. Easton is the most prestigious magic school, and accordingly, the test has some twists. The exam has been imbued with magic, making the questions move around and overlap. To solve the exam, the students need to dispel the magic. Of course, Bard and Riguro think Mash will flunk in this very moment, but he, using his insane physical strength, threatens the questions with violence, and his tactic pays off. Mash is the first to complete the exam, and he continues the strategy to pass through all the trials. But Claude becomes furious seeing this. To kick out Mash, Claude sets up the ultimate test, creating a maze and trapping the applicants inside. He then tells them to reach the end in the allotted time or else they will fail. In the maze, Mash thinks this test will be a breeze when suddenly Lemon, another applicant, comes up to him and asks to team up. Somehow she convinces Mash to work together, but it is all a ruse. It is revealed that she has been ordered by Claude to stop him at any cost, and as such, she uses her magic to constrain him. However, Mash easily breaks them using his strength and departs. Lemon, wanting to pursue him, chases after him, but the guardian of the maze, the Sphinx, appears and asks her a riddle. Not knowing the answer, Lemon now faces certain death, but Mash saves her, thinking that Lemon might have a similar circumstance as him for her actions. Furthermore, he then barely reaches the finish line by breaking clean through the maze's magic-protected walls. Seeing this, the other applicants criticize his actions, but Lemon stands up for him. She reveals how Claude told her to stop Mash from reaching the goal area, and in exchange, he will allow her to pass the exam. With the truth now out, Claude accepts the allegations against them, claiming that it's his right as the examiner to reject the students he dislikes and deems unfit. What's more, he states that he will fail both Mash and Lemon if they object, and they can challenge his discussion via a duel. As he takes out his wand and shows off, Mash closes the distance and breaks his wand. Suddenly, the headmaster, Wahlberg, appears and dismisses Claude as the overseer of the exam. Moreover, he takes charge of the final interview and picks Mash to be the first one up. He then teleports him to the final room, where a council of mages are seated, and asks Mash what he will do if he ever faces an opponent far stronger than him. In order to learn the true answer, he casts a spell which bonds Riguro's soul with a doll, and another doll begins to lower a knife towards it. Mash tries to prevent this and uses his hands to stop the knife's descent, willingly stabbing his hand to save his father. Seeing Mash's strong resolve, the headmaster accepts his enrollment and he gets selected. And so, Mash's school life begins. There, he becomes roommates with Finn and asks him how he can become the one chosen by God, the divine visionary. Finn explains that he will have to excel at all the classes, tests, and extracurricular activities to gain coins, and the one with the largest amount at the end of the school is granted the title. With this, Mash's life at the magic school has begun, despite him being unable to use it. In his room, his idiotic acts stump Finn. He asks to borrow Finn's broom and attend his class to learn how to ride it. However, Mash, having no magic, is unable to do anything with it. Seeing this, another student tries to make fun of him, but all of a sudden, the teacher begins timed trials to test everyone's speed. Hearing this, the other students decide to challenge Mash to a broom race, claiming that the loser will have to do what the winners say for the rest of their stay at the school, and he agrees. Thinking that he will easily win, the unnamed student acts arrogantly, but when the time comes, Mash wins thanks to his insane athletic abilities. He first threw the broom and then mounted it mid-air. Nonetheless, only Finn was able to get a close look at what Mash did, and everyone else is fooled. Unable to accept his defeat, the student tries to deem Mash a cheater and tries to act aggressively. Suddenly, a magic spell seals his mouth and a blonde student named Lloyd Cavell walks in. He apologizes for the rudeness his friend displayed. Despite his friendly demeanor, the onlooking crowd reveals that he is an evil guy, and now that Mash has been noticed by him, he will become a target. He asks Mash to be his friend, but he ends up making fun of him instead. Insulted, Lloyd tells Mash to meet him here after school and then walks off. Elsewhere, he picks on the student who originally confronted Mash. Consequently, he then proceeds to punch the student repeatedly. Blaming for not being able to follow simple orders, Lloyd brutally beats his friend until he collapses to the ground. On the other hand, Finn explains the reason why no one messes with Lloyd, revealing that he is the son of a high-ranking member of the Bureau of Magic. Anyway, after school, Mash makes cream puffs, resulting in him forgetting to meet with Lloyd. This pisses him off, and as revenge, the next day he begins to destroy Mash's textbooks. Moreover, in the guise of putting in a good work for Mash so that he can become the divine visionary, Cavell makes Mash agree to act as an errand boy. In action, Lloyd also begins to humiliate Mash, going as far as to recruit Finn to pull off some rather disgusting action. He orders Finn to stop destroying his textbook for now and burn his clothes instead. but Finn tries to take a stand against this. He tells Cavill that he cannot do this sort of stuff anymore, but this results in him getting attacked. Meanwhile, Mash is looking for Finn when he happens upon the lynching. There, Finn also apologizes for destroying Mash's textbooks. He claims that he was too scared to disobey Cavill's orders and apologizes profusely again and again. Despite all this, Lloyd acts all high and mighty, but Mash has had enough. He approaches him, grabs his hair, and smacks his forehead onto the ground. However, the vice principal Farman witnessed Mash attack Lloyd. It is revealed that he has close ties to Lloyd's family, and as such, decides to punish Mash and Finn for needlessly attacking the innocent Cavill. As Farman continues to spout his bullshit, Mash decides to attack him as well. Moreover, he buries the vice principal, threatening him. He states that he too can come over and bury him at any time. Consequently, he is sent to the headmaster's office. There, he reveals that the Magic Bureau has asked him to expel Mash. However, he compliments Mash for standing up for his friend. Moreover, he also tells him how to get selected as a divine visionary, claiming that he has high hopes for him. And so, after defeating Cavill and the vice principal with no punishment, he has gotten acknowledged from the students. As a result, one day, they get approached by Tom, who asks Mash to take part in a duel, a race on magic brooms. As such, he is forced to participate, and the first duel match of the season begins. But of course, Mash cannot ride a broom and is standing still on the ground, unable to fly. And on this note, the third episode of this new series has come to an end. What an exciting story of yet another overpowered but very likable anime character. Do you think he will face anyone with a magic so that his physical strength won't be enough? Let us know in the comments what you think, and we'll find out in the upcoming episodes. For now, drop us a like and subscribe to Anime Soreio to be the first to see the latest released animes recapped on your feed. With that said, we'll see you in the next one. Peace!